Alright, y'all. Power Book 2 is officially back. Power Book 2 Season 2 premiered early this morning, and y'all, I couldn't wait. Everybody that knows me knows that I love this Power franchise, but the spinoffs have been absolutely, like, it's been great. From Raising Kanan to Power Book 2 Ghost, I've been impressed from the acting performances, from the script writing. I'm talking about the storylines have been great, and I see the storyline taking a huge, like, improvement in Season 2, and I really love the storyline in the first Power Book 2, first season, I'm sorry. Now the second season, I feel like it's going to get to a deeper level where we see Tariq go to a darker place than we ever imagined him going, right? Like, I knew in Power Book 2 Season 1, I knew he wasn't going to be just overnight be Kanan or be Ghost or be Tommy. I knew, like, I'm like, nah, man, he received some slight training from Kanan, some slight training from Tasha, but I knew he wasn't just going to be this killer, psychopathic drug kingpin overnight, right? He's dealing with a whole lot. He's in college. He's trying to balance doing schoolwork and trying to hurry up and finish school to get that money that his father left for him. He's trying to balance trying to get a great attorney, Davis McLean, and get his mother off for whatever she did. He was trying to balance selling dope and all that. It was just so much stuff he was doing and having to deal with, right? But now we see he's into a state of turmoil that I, like, for real, is going to take some character development for Tariq, and we're going to see him grow and mature this season. And the circumstances that's going to have him develop or mature is his murder of Professor Jabari Reynolds, right? Now, this is what's interesting about Season 2. Season 2 picks up right where Season 1 left off. It is the day after Tariq killed Professor Jabari Reynolds, and the next day, Professor Milgram, she's looking for Professor Reynolds because he has a class to teach that Tariq St. Patrick is in. He's not there. Everybody looking around. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Lauren, who's played by Paige Hurd, she don't know where he is. Everybody seems to be concerned, especially Professor Milgram. She looking like it's not like him or whatever, but everything continues. And Tariq St. Patrick is playing it cool, calm, and collected. He playing it like a boss. He act like he don't know what the hell is going on, as he should, right? But I'm looking like, listen, this is going to see you at this point. You're going to see Tariq be in a state of trouble. That's going to, like, he's going to be forced to do certain things that he didn't have to do in the first season, right? He's going to, because in this is what I like about this season. Last season, Tariq seemed to be so perfect without any flaws. Like, he had flaws, but he always was able to he did everything the correct way every single time. And I'm looking like, man, especially with a kid juggling all of this, he's bound to make some type of errors in certain type of ways. And this season, we see an error that he's made, and I'm looking like, yes, Tariq is just not a perfect character. He's going to have flaws. He's going to have some things that tie. He's going to forget to tie up certain loose ends, and he's going to land himself in some type of trouble, and then we're going to see what Tariq St. Patrick does from there, and that's what happens in this episode, man. But first, before I get to that, I want to talk about the different things that I've seen throughout this episode, right? We see that now, speaking of Tariq in his home life, his sister Yaz, who I'm glad is getting, I hope she's going to get more camera time this season. Now, we knew in the original Power, she was such a young girl. I believe Courtney Kemp and Curtis 50 Cent Jackson said she was so young, there wasn't really too much they could do with her character that much. She's getting older now, so I'm hoping that she gets more camera time. We see that Yaz is living with Tariq and with their grandmother. Their grandmother has custody of her. She's raising her. And we see her basically about to burn the kitchen up because she's cooking for her grandmother. And her grandmother's pissed off that she ain't cooking the food right and all this. And she seems just like off her rocker. She seemed off her square. She just seemed like it's something strange about her. And Tariq says she been drinking again. I'm looking like, oh, damn. Yaz is in the mother's custody, the grandmother's custody. And the grandmother is just like, she's not fit to be raising Yaz. And I'm wondering at this point, is Tariq gonna have to gain guardianship over Yaz? He can't do all of that. He's a college student. He's trying to juggle too damn much, you know? But then we see that Tariq sees what's going on. He knows that his grandmother is not suitable to be raising his young sister. And he's trying to contact his mother, who is in witness protection. So he goes out and seeks Davis McLean, who is the lawyer, the attorney that Tariq hired in order to get Tasha St. Patrick, Tasha Green, off for the murder of James St. Patrick or his father, right? He seeks out Davis McLean, who is now teamed up with Cooper Saxe. Now, y'all know Cooper Saxe was dismissed from the U.S. Attorney's Office, and they agreed, or Davis MacLean reached out to Cooper Saxe and agreed to go into a partnership with him. So I'm looking like, why the hell, when I saw that whole situation, I'm like, why the hell is Davis MacLean interested in saving Cooper Saxe's ass? I don't know why. Davis seems to be only caring about himself. He only cares about a fine girl. He only cares about money, and he only cares about making himself look good. So what would be in it for him to save Cooper Saxe's ass, or save him, or give him a job? Like, it didn't make sense to me. But we see Davis MacLean has an ulterior motive, because at the end of this episode, we see him basically going to go visit his brother, who happens to be Reggie Noble, aka Redman. You know what I mean? He sees his brother in jail, and he says, you know what? I'm going to get you up out of here. I'm working with a guy now. I got a partnership with him. We're going to see he could be the link to get you up out of jail. So he's going to use Cooper Saxe in order to get his brother out of prison. But I'm looking at that scratching my head, because everybody that watched Power knows that, and I don't know if Cooper Saxe, I don't know if Davis MacLean knows this, but Cooper Saxe, he mess up every single thing he's involved in. He fuck it up all the time. He's always messing things up. Things never go the way it's supposed to go with Cooper Saxe. So I'm looking like, I don't know how successful Cooper Saxe is going to be in getting Davis's brother out of prison, right? But I guess Davis feel like it's worth a shot. But at this point, we see Tariq is like, listen, I need to get in contact with my mother, Davis. Get me in contact with my mother. Tariq does not know where she is. He hasn't had any contact with her at all. But he says, Davis, get me in contact with my mom. Because I think now he's trying to get his sister Yas with his mother. Davis is looking like, hey, we gonna tax him for every single piece of information that he want to get with his mom. We gonna get all the money we can out of him, which is gonna make Cooper Saxe happy, which will then make him more willing to help Davis MacLean get his brother out of jail, because Davis is keeping his pockets lined up with bread, keeping his pockets fat. So we're gonna want to help somebody who saved your ass and helping getting you money in your pocket. So that's what Davis is setting up a real good plan for Cooper Saxe to help him out of his situation, right? And then we get to see all the different aspects of this of everything Tariq is dealing with personally, and his involvement with the Tejada family, right? At this point, we see the Tejada family is going through disarray. Drew has been shot, and it's interesting for me to see the fact that we see that Drew he's blaming his mother for getting shot, and he's talking to his sister like, look, our mother has reign over every single thing we do. She chooses every single thing we get into. She makes all the decisions for us. It's time for us to branch off from our mother. That's what Drew is telling his sister Diana. He looking like, we got to get from under her wing. We have to be out and step on our own and emancipate ourselves from her. Now, the parallel to that, I'm looking on the opposite end of the spectrum. Kane he's trying to get back in the good graces of his mom so bad, he's reaching out to a new connect for drugs in order to, make a peace treaty with his mom. He wants to be loved and appreciated and accepted and embraced by his family, including his mom, while the other two siblings are like, man, fuck that. We trying to go on and do our own thing. We trying to separate ourselves from my mom. We need to make our own identity, because Monet is trying to tell him, she's trying to dictate every aspect of their life, including Diana's dating life. Monet doesn't want Diana dating Tariq or probably anybody at that point. She just wants her to use her physical looks in order to get them out of crime or get them out of going to jail for the crimes that they have been committing. Also, we see the fact that she's using Zeke as their get out plan, or basically like using him as their new product, basically, for lack of better words. And she want to get out of the game because she feels like, oh, Diana almost went to jail, almost got locked up. Drew, you got shot. I'm nervous. We got a few more years of selling these drugs. And then when Zeke goes to the league, that's gonna be our ticket to get up out of here. He gonna be the meal ticket. He gonna be everything, right? Zeke is the cash cow. But at this point, she's forcing Zeke to go into the draft, even though Zeke is not ready. And I see him working with, shout out to Emeka Okafor. Anybody that watched basketball know Emeka Okafor when he was at UConn, went to New Orleans and went to the Charlotte Hornets. Excuse me, he went to not New Orleans. He went to the Charlotte Bobcats. Got drafted by the Charlotte Bobcats. I think he was Rookie of the Year that year. Emeka had a respectable career. We see Emeka Okafor working out with Zeke. And Zeke is expressing his uncertainty about his future. He feels like he may not be ready. He needs to spend more time on the court. He didn't play that much that year. He may not be ready to make that leap. And we see him being unsure of himself. But his auntie Monet is looking like, hell no, you're gonna do what I say you do, which I think is going to strain the relationship between Zeke and his aunt, and it's going to make certain things worse. You know what I mean? But yet and still, we get to see Kane just trying to meet a connect so bad, trying to impress his mom. He meets this connect named Mecca. And, Mecca seemed to be this ruthless dude. First, Kane is suspecting that he's a narc. He don't really trust him. Dude looks shaky until you see Mecca put in work. Kane becomes impressed. So now he's trying to prove his loyalty or prove his worth to Mecca in order to get a connect for the family business so they can still thrive and be successful and then take the connect back to Monet, right? But it's interesting when we see Kane doing these certain things and then he attempts to act like he about to steal some drugs. The dude Mecca, like he want to off Kane at the end of the episode. And then we see Kane goes to go see his mom, impressed and trying to get back in good and he's like a dog, a little puppy at the door, sniffing at the door, trying to get acceptance from his mom. He say, look, I even got us a new connect. Monet doesn't seem to be impressed, but we also see Mecca following Kane, watching his every move in the distance, and he now knows where his mother and his family stays. And I'm looking like this shit gonna be trouble for the Tejada family, that Mecca now knows where Kane's mother lays. He knows where his sister and brother and his family, everybody be at. It's going to be a dangerous alliance. It's not going to really be an alliance. I think Mecca going to do some shady stuff, and he's going to try to get over on the Tejada family and Kane both in whatever way possible. So there's going to be some turmoil for this whole family, right? Now let's get to Professor Milgram, right? She seems to be a hopeless romantic to the highest degree. She always looking for love. She started sleeping with Zeke. Started, feeling certain ways about Jabari. They tried to rekindle their flame for a little minute. She just seems to be trying to find love, and it's crazy because that's what people say the corporate world is like. A lot of beautiful women, they are successful and still struggling to date. So she's all over the place, right? She says she's leaving Zeke alone. She's leaving Jabari alone. She's going on a date with a detective. This detective dude is somebody that she used to date back in the day. She seems to be like, man, he's a grown man. He has something going for himself, and I want to see where this goes. She meets up with the detective. The detective is he's playing it like he's interested in a date, but he takes her to the morgue instead, and he says he wants to know if Professor Milgram can identify the body of Jabari Reynolds. She does identify the body. She starts to get berated with questions. The guy is basically trying to insinuate, hey, you may have some type of, you often blur the lines between professional and personal. Did you have something to do with his murder? She gets mad. She snaps and say, how could you even suspect that? She gets pissed off and she storms out and leaves, right? But this is an interesting dynamic. The fact that this detective, he's trying to, because he knows that Professor Jabari Reynolds works at Stansfield. He knows that Jabari Reynolds was investigating the whole GTG murder scene at the pool when the dude tried to kill Tariq. He knows that Jabari was questioning students about that whole situation. So he knows that he thinks that, hey, somebody at Stansfield may have killed Professor Reynolds in order to stop him from finding out who killed that dude in the school. You know what I mean? It's a connection between the two. So he looking like, nah, I think the person who did this to Jabari Reynolds is at the school. I want to figure this out, right? So it's leading a connection, it's leading towards, all directions is going to start pointing towards Tariq at this point. Now, but Professor Milgram is going to be key because what happens later is very, very interesting to me. Like, I'm going to talk about that in a minute, right? But no matter of fact, let's talk about it now. We see that Tariq makes a critical mistake in this episode. But the way Courtney Kemp and Curtis 50 Cent Jackson make this, like, it wasn't just like the way they set it up for why he made this mistake was perfect. We know he's been using a burner phone in order to contact his mom to see where she is in witness protection. But he's been using this burner phone for all his other transgressions, drug deals. He was contacting Professor Jabari Reynolds right before he killed him, so on and so forth, because Jabari was trying to make a book on Tariq's life. He found out some key things about Tariq that Tariq didn't want known. And so, he's been using this. Tariq's been using this burner phone in order to contact all these different individuals. The problem is when he killed Jabari Reynolds, Tariq is such an amateur, he did not take Jabari Reynolds' cell phone. So the cell phone is now being used by the detective in order to reach out to anybody who had the last contact with Professor Reynolds. And they look at Professor Reynolds' phone, they see that he was contacting this number. And this number happens to be Tariq's burner phone. The detective calls the number. Tariq answers, thinking that, hey, maybe it's my mom trying to contact me. I haven't heard from her. I need to talk to her. Maybe Davis has now reached out to my mom and got her to contact me, right? So he answers the phone thinking it's going to be Tasha. However, he doesn't say anything. Luckily for him, he stays quiet. When he stays quiet, the detective says, hey, this is Detective such and such. I forgot his name. And then Tariq loses his damn mind because he knows they got Jabari Reynolds' phone. That phone is now going to be traced back to their school, which it was, traced back to Stansfield. Tariq got to get rid of that phone, and now he got to get everything to lead away from him. Because he knows all signs are going to be pointed towards him. Everything is going to be pointed in his direction. He's told Monet and the Tejada family he had nothing to do with Professor Reynolds' death. He's lied and told them, and she asked him, are you lying to me? He said, no, with a straight face. She told him, you know what happens when you lie? He said, yes, I do. But he knows now he cannot afford for all of this stuff to fall on him at all at this time. So now I think Tariq is going to get desperate. And I think you're going to see him pull a Kanan move. He's going to do something shiesty, and he's going to let Professor Milgram take the fall for everything that's going on. He's going to look at Professor Milgram and say, you know what? I can't go to jail for this. I'm going to let this lady go to jail. She going to get locked up. I'm not going to take the fall for this whole situation. And I think he's going to set up Professor Milgram because, she has a great, not the alibi. She has a great motive. Not a great motive, but she's the only other person that can have a motive for wanting something to happen to Jabari Reynolds. The fact that she found out that, her and Jabari weren't working out, but she found out he was trying to mess with a student, so on and so forth. Tariq is probably going to play on that and even probably play on the potential relationship. I don't think he's going to put Zeke involved in any of this. But I think Tariq is going to try to find a way to frame Professor Milgram for Jabari Reynolds' death, which would be smart on his part, but it would be absolutely shiesty, right? But I think that's how it's going to fall down, the chips are going to fall. Because at this point, Tariq can't afford to go down for nobody. But I like the fact that they have him making a critical mistake like this because it shows that he's human and it shows that he's not like just this perfect, like super criminal at a young ass age, right? Also, we see that Tariq is starting to feel haunted by killing his own father. And I think that's something that I think we need to see. We don't need to see that, we need to see some human interaction or human emotion coming from Tariq because Tariq ain't no certified stone cold killer. We know that Tariq is not just like no dude that's out here just killing everybody willy-nilly. That ain't his style. We know he has human emotions towards people, towards his mom, towards his sister, towards his family, his grandmother, right? And now we see when he went on that hunting trip with his homeboy Braden, we see that now after the deer was shot and he see the deer being wounded on the ground, he's starting to have flashbacks about him killing his father, right? It started when he started thinking about killing Jabari, which led back to him in his memories and his mind about killing his own father. And now we see him have some type of remorse about it, but because I think now he understands why, and we saw it at the end of season 1, he understands why his father had to be who he was in order for him to be successful in life. Why his father did the things he did, he started to understand them now that he was living in that certain type of lifestyle. He was able to resonate with his own father at that point, right? And I like the way they used the deer to try to get Tariq to reflect on those things. It kind of reminded me of the movie Get Out. When Chris on the movie, when the deer crashed into the car and he died, he started thinking about how his mother was on the ground or his mother was helpless, when she was dying and so on and so forth, right? But I like the way they use the deer to connect those things. Also, we see the relationship between, not a relationship, the friendship, the bond between Braden and Tariq growing. It already was solid in the first season, but we see a little character development with Braden. Braden now seems to be a kid trying to find his own path. He's a Weston, which is a prominent family in the whole, in that area. They have they have influence in every single thing. They're highly respected. They get away with everything. Brayden doesn't want to be just like his dad or his brother. He wants to find his own life and make a way from it for his own self. So he's trying to branch away from his father and his brother's shadow, and he's selling dope with Tariq because he feel like it's his own thing, and that, you know, it gives him a chance to take a step away from being a Weston and just be Brayden, who he really, his own self. It gives him an opportunity to be his own self. And in certain ways, the way he's trying to branch away from the lifestyle that his father just laid out for him to take, it kind of reminds me of Tariq trying to rebel in order to separate himself from what Ghost had planned for him, and, you know, for him to kind of have his own individuality and want to be himself. Although I don't agree with him trying to be a damn drug kingpin in order to have individuality. Like, what the fuck, Tariq and Brayden? Like, y'all need to do something else or find something else, productive with your time, right? Also, we see that, you know, the love interest thing. Tariq is still a play out here, man. Like, for real, he's even macking on Diana because he know Diana gonna cause him to get in good and save him, I guess, in the case of some things go bad with Monet. I think that Tariq likes Diana for sure, but he knows if he's on Diana's good side, she's gonna possibly protect him from Monet's narcissistic ways, or, you know, always suspecting ways where she can just fly off a limb if she just suspects certain things. And I think he knows that if he's good with Diana gonna stop a lot of the bullshit from occurring and kind of get Monet to back down, even though Monet don't really listen to nobody, but it's kind of going to at least get her to stop in her tracks if something were to go negatively with Tariq, right? But Tariq is a play out here, man. He talking to Lauren. Lauren is liking on him a lot, but every time him and Lauren got the opportunity to get something cracking, to get something popping, Tariq always got some other duties to fulfill, because we know this is the busiest young man in the goddamn America. Not in America, in the goddamn world. Tariq got more duties than any grown ass businessman that I know. Tariq he got his hand in every single thing. He's too overwhelmed to be out here dating for real. And we see that, you know, the consequences of that, because he can never really spend time with none of these women who are supposed to be his potential love interests, right? I like the fact that we get to see Councilman Tate, right? Rashad Tate is back on the scene. We see that he's lost the governor race. He's down on his luck. He feeling bad. He in there sleeping on his brother's couch, drowning in alcohol, just in a state of sorrow. His brother like, listen, you a Tate, you got to pick yourself up. You need to figure this shit out. And he does so. He picks himself up. And now he wants to be a congressman. But in order to be a congressman, he got to knock off Congressman Sweeney. Not kill him, but get dirt on him to get him out of the picture so that he can be in that same place. And I'm all for Councilman Tate finding dirt on Congressman Sweeney, because I do not like his ass for the certain things he was saying about black folks and, you know, drugs and so on and so forth. And Tariq pulled his damn card and was basically like, listen, y'all was out here like basically talking about the opioid crisis and how, you know, it's affecting the white community and how they saw profit in it, but now it's certain problems now that they getting all shook up about it. It was just great the way Tariq like read his ass or checked his ass for sure. Like I really like that whole scene when Tariq basically checked him, right? But Councilman Tate is going to try to find dirt on Congressman Sweeney, and he's going to use his brother, who's a police officer, in order to do it. So I'm looking like, look at Councilman Tate. He out here scheming and scamming like his old self in order to get himself back into a position of power. But hey, that's the name of the game, and that's the name of this TV show, right? Furthermore, man, I really love this episode. I'm excited to see where the season goes. I will say this, though. Is it me, or is the college scenes in the classroom, they really not interesting like that to me, right? They having all these dialogue and all these little lessons about ideologies and theories and in order to try to connect it to Tariq's real life situation. And I know what they're trying to do, but it's really not. I don't really like them scenes like that. All they really are good for is introducing new characters in the storyline. That's it. We see a little young asshole in the scene with Tariq trying to front on Tariq or whatever. But other than that, I ain't really impressed by those classroom scenes. But I am impressed by this show so far. I love it. I'm excited about it. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, Machiavelli Mills TV. I'm out. Peace.